Understanding God's will and discerning the right path can indeed feel like navigating through intersections filled with conflicting directions. You might feel an internal pull towards one way, while external advice nudges you another. In life's significant decisions, choosing a college, navigating relationships, starting a family, making career moves, or relocating, the right choice isn't always clear-cut. Embrace the principle that one step leads to another. When facing a decision, take the step that seems most aligned with God's will after prayer. Consulting the scriptures and seeking advice from those you trust. Then take that step and trust in the process. Understanding that God's plan often unfolds step by step. It's not always visible in the moment, and sometimes it might even feel like you are moving backward to go forward. But trust that God excels in orchestrating life's details, connecting the dots in ways we can't foresee. Many who have walked with Jesus for some time will recognize this in their own lives. Looking back, they can see instances where what seemed like denial was actually protection, where seemingly disjointed events were God weaving a large tapestry. The hindsight can reinforce our trust in God's guidance, reminding us that even when the path isn't clear, He is adept at weaving our steps into a coherent and purposeful journey. There is a common misconception that experiencing God's will requires perfect circumstances, and if everything isn't just right, we are somehow off track or relegated to a plan B. However, Scripture doesn't support this view. God doesn't need ideal conditions to enact His will. He is renowned for taking the fragmented, the imperfect, and weaving them into something meaningful and beautiful. God is in the business of working all things for good, even though we might not always discern how to see it immediately. God is a redeemer and a master weaver, crafting beauty from our brokenness. It's inevitable that we will stumble and make mistakes, but the key is to persist, to continue stepping forward in faith, knowing that God can transform our missteps into pathways for good. The question of discerning God's will isn't about unlocking some secret formula or following a rigid set of instructions. It's about embracing the journey, recognizing that the will of God unfolds as we walk in faith, attentive to His guidance. God's will isn't a detailed roadmap, it's a dynamic relationship. Just as He guided the Israelites with a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, asking them to simply follow, God invites us into a similar walk of faith. He doesn't provide a map with every twist and turn marked out. Instead, He offers His presence, asking us to stay connected with Him. This approach to guidance might introduce uncertainty, but it also infuses our journey with a sense of adventure and trust, keeping us engaged with God every step of the way. I have held many things in my hands and I have lost them all. But whatever I have placed in God's hand, that I still possess. Martin Luther. Fear and anxiety are natural human emotions that can be triggered by a range of situations, including uncertainty, change, and stress. While these emotions can be normal and even beneficial in some cases, they can also be debilitating and interfere with daily life. Fortunately, trusting in God can be a powerful tool in overcoming fear and anxiety. One of the main benefits of trusting in God is that it provides a sense of peace and security. When we believe that God is watching over us and guiding our lives, we can feel a greater sense of control and comfort in difficult situations. This can help us to overcome the fear and anxiety that often comes with uncertainty and change. Another way that trusting in God can help overcome fear and anxiety is by providing a sense of purpose and meaning. When we believe that God has a plan for our lives, we can feel more motivated and inspired to pursue our goals and dreams. This can help us to feel more confident, less anxious about the future, knowing that we are working towards something meaningful. Trusting in God can also help us to develop a more positive outlook on life. When we focus on God's love and grace, we can shift our attention away from negative thoughts and emotions. This can help us to feel more grateful and content with our lives, even in the face of difficult circumstances. In 1 Samuel 17, we read about how the Israelites were at war with Philistines. The Philistines had a giant warrior named Goliath who challenged the Israelites to send out a champion to fight him in a single combat. The Israelites were terrified, but David, a young shepherd boy, stepped forward to face Goliath. Despite being small and inexperienced, David trusted in God to help him defeat Goliath. He refused to wear the heavy armor that King Saul offered him, instead choosing to face Goliath with only a sling and 5 smooth stones. As he approached Goliath, David declared, "You come against me with a sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of armies of Israel, whom you have defied." With God's help, David was able to defeat Goliath and secure a victory for Israelites. His trust in God gave him the courage he needed to face his fear and overcome a seemingly impossible challenge. The story of David and Goliath is a powerful reminder that no matter how small or weak we may feel, we can trust in God to help us overcome our fear and anxieties.